Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of the Republic of Kenya, Excellence Monsieur Stéphane Séjourné, ministre de l'Europe et des Affaires étrangères de la République française, avec votre estimée délégation. Dr. Abraham Korere Singoy, Principal Secretary, State Department for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, State Department for Foreign Affairs, senior government officials present, esteemed member of the fourth estate, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I take this opportunity to welcome you all to this press briefing, where the two honorable ministers will update us on the status of the long-standing diplomatic relationship between Kenya and France. Thereafter, we'll have a brief question and answer from the members of the fourth estate. And then, of course, we'll have a brief session, photo session, and exchange of gifts. We begin our press briefing with the host minister, Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Am I audible? Okay, thank you. Distinguished members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am honored today to receive and welcome His Excellency Stéphane Séjourné, Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs of the French Republic. Indeed, this visit is symbolic as it marks His Excellency Séjourné's first visit to Africa in his capacity as the Foreign Minister of France. I thank him for his political goodwill in cementing Kenya-France relations as demonstrated by his visit today. Kenya and France share a strong bond of friendship, evidenced by the exchange of several high-level visits between our two countries. The high-level outbound and inbound visits and the successful conclusion of bilateral frameworks for cooperation are part of the Kenya-France engagements aimed at fortifying bilateral ties between our two countries. We have just concluded a successful engagement in which we exchanged views on the current state of our relationships and explored how we can deepen and consolidate these ties. We further deliberated on the key sectors of our relations, including transport and sports infrastructure, climate change, green energy transition, water and sanitation, as well as regional and multilateral cooperation. On matters of infrastructure and transport, the French government has made a significant mark in the development of Kenya's roads and railway systems. I am pleased to note that Kenya and France have finalized the agreement to facilitate funding of the upgrading of Nairobi Commuter Railway. This project aligns with Kenya's sustainable urban development initiatives aiming to enhance transport services and mobility in Nairobi metropolitan area. The amount involved here is close to 20 billion Kenya shillings. The two countries have also agreed to expedite the implementation of a key project to create 8 social, sports, and cultural complexes throughout the country that will be co-financed by the two countries to the tune of 10 billion Kenya shillings. The construction will leverage the Agora model, will facilitate access to sports and culture by creating tailored local infrastructure in our communities across the country. Furthermore, France is a strategic and valuable partner in the peace and security sector. It has played a vital role in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism on the bilateral and multilateral fronts. I wish to express my deep appreciation to the government of France for convening, together with Germany and the European Union, the upcoming International Humanitarian Conference for Sudan and its neighbors later in April, that is later this month. I am certain that the outcomes of the conference will positively contribute to the efforts to find a solution to end the conflict and alleviate the suffering of the people of Sudan. On environment and climate action, we have expressed our concerns about the existential threat of climate change and underscored the need for concerted efforts to address climate-related challenges. We have agreed to strengthen the bilateral cooperation between our two countries on climate action and step up our efforts to cut greenhouse gas emissions and strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity for priority green growth. We have also agreed to work collectively to advocate for a more reformed and inclusive global climate financing framework. We underlined the necessity to urgently scale up global climate finance and noted the need for an increased level of climate finance, including contributions from the private sector and other innovative sources. We emphasized the urgency to implement the United Arab Emirates Consensus, including on the just and equitable transition from fossil fuels. Kenya and France recognize the need for global solidarity in addressing climate challenges. We therefore invite all countries to join the task force on international taxation launched by France, Kenya, and Barbados to scale up development and climate action, as well as the expert review on debt, nature, and climate led by Colombia, France, Germany, and Kenya. Finally, let me express my gratitude to His Excellency Minister Stefan Sejourn for our successful engagement and recognition of the prospects for the mutual benefit of the people of our two countries. I affirm Kenya's commitment to deepening and broadening our bilateral relations with France, and I look forward to many more such encounters. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I cede the floor to you.
Merci, je voudrais remercier très sincèrement le ministre et
a friendly welcome. I think, and you reminded us that I wanted to begin my first trip to Sub-Saharan Africa by coming to Kenya. Challenges, we have strong and shared convictions. The proof is in the declaration that we've adopted today with my Kenyan counterpart. We adopted this declaration because together we want to be ambitious in the fight against climate change and the stakes at hand in the long term, especially for global stakes. We're also convinced that the international financial system needs to be reformed. No one should have to choose between eradicating poverty and climate change adaptation. These are two things which we are working on and have been working on for a few years. This is the reason actually behind the Paris Pact for People on the Planet that we signed during the summit held in June last year in Paris, France. President William Ruto remarkably presented the voice of Africa, I dare add. This voice and the voice of Africa was shared in Paris during the summit held last year. Unfortunately, other crises are affecting the world. Together with Kenya, we are in constant dialogue on issues of international peace and security. Kenya strongly and clearly condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I would like to commend and thank Kenya for its support in this condemnation because this war has shaken the continent of Europe and my country. I also applaud the unwavering commitment of Kenya for peace in Africa, notably stabilization of Somalia, initiating a peace process in the Great Lakes, and we discussed at length with my ministerial counterpart, as well as in Sudan. You are participating in the humanitarian conference on Sudan to be held next week in Paris, and I'm delighted with this, and I thank you for your future representation in this high-level meeting. Your efforts are admirable, and I would like to show you that we are giving you our unwavering support. In Haiti, President Ruto decided to make Kenya the lead nation in the multinational security support mission. Alongside Kenya, France is giving financial support to this mission, amounting to 3 million euros disbursed to the United Nations Trust Fund. On this, our efforts are aligned. And we will work in a coordinated manner to have a common analysis of the situation in the country so that we can be efficient in dealing with the crisis. If we are such strong partners, it is also because our economic relations are booming. I said it in the beginning. French companies are increasingly investing in Kenya. This is a good thing. Right now, France is the 5th largest investor in your country, Mr. Minister. Our 140 companies now create more than 34,000 direct jobs in your country. They contribute to flagship infrastructure projects such as the renovation of the Nairobi commuter rail network, which we would like this partnership to continue and increase. I believe in the cooperation we will have here and in the years to come. Our academic and cultural cooperation is also strengthening, whether it's on Kenya's creative and cultural industry, whether it's learning of French by Kenyan youth, whose numbers are on the rise, and this opens them up to job opportunities and also to share Francophone values. We also have partnerships between Kenyan and French universities, notably with Sciences Po, University of Nairobi, and others. I would like, with your indulgence, to thank you on the progress that has been accomplished since 2019 when our president visited Kenya, and it has enabled us to advance on many significant issues. I will end with a word on sports. Since we have spoken about Olympic and Paralympic Games, we will be really happy to welcome Kenya, a major sporting nation, for the upcoming Olympic and Paralympic Games in Paris. The town of Miramas in the south of France will host the Kenyan base camp, and it will have a Kenyan house, which will be a window of opportunity to promote Kenya, its culture, and its traditions, including our bilateral relations in France and our presence in these domains. And I would like to speak, since we are talking about sports, I will take this moment and spare a thought for this formidable champion called Kelvin Kiptum. His death at the age of 24 aroused in my country, France, as well as in Kenya, strong emotions, given the measure of his talent, given that he was the world marathon record holder. He was a role model for millions of young people around the world. and will forever remain with the Kenyan colors. Mr. Minister, I would like to thank you once more for the warm and helpful discussions that we've had in order to deepen our partnership further. Obviously, France will be on your side in all the domains that we've discussed in the years to come, and we're also counting on you to have a significant performance, especially in the Olympic Games, and make it a success. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Excellence. Thank you very much. Now we will get two questions. One from the Kenyan side for the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and one from two, I'm told, from the French side for His Excellency the Minister. We start with the gentleman here. You will mention your name and the media house you're representing, and you shoot your question.
Good morning. My name is Tilio Marco from KBC. And my question is, Kenya currently exports mainly French beans and flowers to France. What measures are there in place to address the trade imbalance between the two countries that has been there for long?
Thank you.
Thank you. All I can say is that it is work in progress. The process of us addressing the trade imbalance requires consistent programs and joint efforts like what we are doing. And as I indicated in my remarks, and also the minister has alluded to it, that the number of French companies in Kenya are growing. And the ones that are present are able to engage 34,000 Kenyans directly. That is direct jobs, direct employment. We have 34,000 people. So as we go forward and we broaden our efforts in export promotion activities, we are going to see enhanced growth and limitation of the trade gap. Equally, I think it is important at this point, I also remind you that Kenya and the European Union have signed the EPA, the Economic Partnership Agreement. And that agreement provides Kenya with another opportunity to increase its trade with Europe, France being a key player in Europe, duty-free and tariff-free. So those are areas that we can explore to make sure that the trade imbalance is reduced as we go forward. So there's a lot of potential. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A question from the French media.
Thank you. Bonjour, messieurs les ministres. 24.
Bastien Renouy from France 24. A question to you, Mr. Sejourné. Before your departure from France, the ministry had communicated on the fact that France wants to put in place a new communication strategy and say that it was interested in other countries aside from the Sahel region. Would you like to tell us much more on this, and this, can it improve France's image in Africa, which is not really good at the moment? Thank you for your question. First of all, I would like to tell you that Africa is not just the Sahel region. We have a great cooperation, and we have made African countries a huge priority for French diplomacy, because the African continent is also becoming a cultural powerhouse, an economic powerhouse, and as well as a diplomatic powerhouse. We see their role in major international crises, and Kenya is playing a really important role in such initiatives. And this is upending the global power balance. Our destinies are linked on many topics, either by our histories, by our geography, and also the millions of French citizens who have personally invested in the African continent. Obviously, Kenya is not a traditional partner of France, as the minister has mentioned, but we are strengthening our partnerships. We are also diversifying the same because our destinies are shared. We also would like to state that we have shared challenges. France would like to renew and to build equal partnerships that are mutually respectful and that are mutually beneficial to both us and the countries we have partnerships with in Africa. This is part of the roadmap that we have. We want to diversify our partnerships and make them beneficial both to the countries within which we will invest within our discussion, and also lucidly, Africa is becoming an indispensable powerhouse in all the issues I've mentioned: culture, economy, and diplomacy. So for these reasons and others, we have the willingness to show that there are good things, there is great understanding with African countries, and there are new ways of building cooperation in the economic and cultural scenes, as is the case here in Kenya.
Thank you very much. There is another last question for the Honorable Minister.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Ministre. Alban Tiroir.
Alban Tiroir from Radio France International. Mr. Sejourné, Paris will have an international conference on Sudan in a few days from now. Without the different protagonists, without them, what do you expect?
When Kenya will deploy its police forces to Haiti and other preparations ongoing.
D'abord,
First of all, the goal is to speak. We want to discuss about this conflict. I think that the minister will not contradict me that this is a crisis that has been forgotten by many and it is causing a lot of tragedy. We therefore need to mobilize the international community so that they can know we are organizing this conference with our partners. We'll work in conjunction with Germany and the European Union. For a few weeks now, I have asked my counterparts from all over to come to this high-level international conference so that we can make solid commitments and decisions can be made to support, and also in the message that we will send. This is the first thing. We want to raise international awareness on this crisis, and we want to make this Sudanese crisis to come at the forefront of discussions, because hundreds of thousands of people are suffering. They are witnessing hunger. And when we are looking at the Ukrainian and Gaza crisis, they are having much more attention than what is happening in Sudan. This is the first thing that we would like to have. In our decisions, we would like support and clear positions, as well as demands made to the protagonists and the belligerents. We would like to do it in a coordinated manner in order to have an impact at international level and to coordinate countries in their diplomatic baggage to deal with this crisis. This Sudan crisis deserves that we consecrate it to international agenda in our countries, and France will welcome this conference. It will chair this conference and make proposals during this upcoming conference, especially to resolve this crisis.
Thank you. First of all, let me underscore that what the minister has said is extremely significant and important for Africa. And we want to thank France for the leadership that they are providing in this matter. The crisis in Sudan is unprecedented. The level of humanitarian crisis is huge, extremely huge, if looked at in terms of the number of people displaced, the number of people going without food, without shelter, without security. It is a serious crisis. And we appreciate the role and initiative of France to bring focus into this area, which has been going on and worsening right under our noses. So we really respect and value the initiative that is being taken by France on this initiative. I think it's very important for humanity. The second issue is just to emphasize that the Haiti program is still on. For Kenya, we made a commitment through our president following the request from Haiti channeled through the United Nations that we give them support in stabilizing the security situation in their country. Of course, in between, the situation got worse, and there is a parallel process that involves the political agenda, where the CARICOM states are trying to put together a transitional leadership, civilian leadership, which would then provide the basis for the deployment of the multilateral support police force that we committed to. We are prepared, our police officers are ready, and we want to do it in conjunction with all players. And therefore, once this other process is done, then we shall be able to deploy at the earliest, since the teams are really ready. And it's in that process that we also hope and trust that we shall also get other nations also who have shown willingness to be part of this process to also come forward. And we really welcome the support, both financial, logistical, and of course sharing very delicate information to make this mission a success from France and other partners. I just want to emphasize to all that, remember, this is a multinational initiative. It's not singular. It's not Kenya alone. It's not France alone. We need everybody on deck to be able to make the Haiti intervention a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. One last question from RFI Swahili.
Mheshimiwa, mimi naitwa Ruben Lukumbuka kutoka idhaa ya Kiswahili ya Radio France. Mheshimiwa Waziri, pengine yule mwananchi wa Kenya lakini vile vile mzungumzaji wa lugha ya Kiswahili ama wanaoelewa lugha ya Kiswahili wangetaka kufahamu ni nini ambacho mmezungumza katika mkutano wako wewe Mheshimiwa na waziri wa mambo ya nje wa Ufaransa. Swali la pili na mwisho, sikuchukulie muda, ni maeneo yepi ya ushirikiano ambayo Kenya inatoa kama kipaumbele na Ufaransa, hususan kwenye swala zima la miundombinu, nikimaanisha infrastructure, baada ya ule mkataba kuhusu ujenzi wa barabara ya Mai Mahiu kuingia Doha. Nitashukuru sana Mheshimiwa pia ukijibu swali kuhusu ule mpango wa kuwatuma polisi wa Kenya kule Haiti. Nitafurahi kama utalijibu pia kwa Kiswahili. Asante sana Mheshimiwa.
Asante. Nitajaribu kufupisha. Mwanzo nataka nidhibitishe kwamba uhusiano wetu na Ufaransa umekuwa thabiti na wa maana kwa sisi sote. Taifa la Ufaransa ni taifa kubwa, na tangu tupate uhuru wamekuwa wakihusiana na sisi kwa sehemu mbalimbali: kilimo, mambo ya uchukuzi, mambo ya utaalamu katika aviation, kila pahali wamekuwa na sisi kwa mambo kadhaa, na hata elimu. Kwa hivyo kwa wakati huu yale ambayo tumezungumzia ni kuhusu vile tutaenda mbele kuanzia sasa tukienda mbele, na tumezungumzia ule usaidizi wanatoa kuhusu uchukuzi hapa Nairobi kwa commuter rail system. Wanatupatia usaidizi wa shilingi bilioni 20 ili tuanze kuimarisha mambo ya uchukuzi katika Nairobi, haswa kwa mambo ya reli. Tumezungumzia mambo ya sports, wanataka watusaidie kujenga sehemu za sports katika miji mbalimbali za taifa letu, na hapo ni pesa karibu bilioni 10 ambazo zitatumika kwa huo mradi, sio tu kwa stadium moja lakini kadhaa, na tunataka tulenge sana tuimarishe viwanja vyetu kabla ya 2027 wakati tutakuwa na AFCON katika taifa letu. Kwa hivyo tumeongea na hawa kuhusu jambo hilo. Kwa mambo mengine ambayo tumeongea ni kuhusu mambo ya kiuchumi. Wana makampuni karibu 150 kutoka taifa la Ufaransa ambao zinafanya biashara hapa, na wakati zinafanya biashara hapa wamewahi kuajiri wa Kenya 34,000 na tunataka zingine zije ili tuwe na uhusiano bora kupita pale. Kwa mambo ya Haiti, Ufaransa wana mambo mengi ambayo wanafahamu kuhusu taifa la Haiti, na tunataka watusaidie kwa mambo ya kuelewa kabisa vile hiyo mission ya multinational force ya police itaweza kufanya kazi kule Haiti. Tayari wametoa usaidizi wa kifedha wa euro milioni 3 ambazo wametuma kwa ile fund ya United Nations ya kusaidia mambo ya Haiti, na wanasema wako tayari kusaidiana na mataifa mengine ili tujaribu kusaidia taifa la Haiti. La mwisho, ndugu yetu hapa amezungumzia kwamba wameitisha mkutano wa kimataifa tarehe 15 mwezi huu wa April kule Paris kuzungumzia swala la Sudan, na hili ni swala muhimu sana kwa sababu kule Sudan mnavyojua vita vimeleta ghasia nyingi na tabu na maafa mengi kwa jamii ya Sudan, na wengi wametorokea sehemu mbalimbali katika nchi jirani, na wengine hawajui pahali ambapo wataamukia. Kwa hivyo kuna shida kubwa kule, na sisi tunapongeza sana taifa la Ufaransa kuitisha huu mkutano, kwa sababu ulimwengu umekuwa ukiangalia shida ambayo iko Ukraine, inaangalia shida ambayo iko Gaza, lakini kuna shida kubwa zaidi ambayo iko hapo Sudan na ni kama imesahulika. Kwa hivyo kitendo ambacho wamefanya cha kuitisha huo mkutano ni cha muhimu, ili ulimwengu usisahau kwamba kuna maafa ambayo yanatendeka katika nchi ya Sudan na inaathiri mamilioni ya watu. Kwa hivyo nitafupisha hapo na kusema tu tuko na uhusiano mwema na tumefurahi waziri amekuwa hapa. Asante.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Now we go to our next session. Can we kindly request the podiums to be moved aside? Thank you. Then we will have the exchange of gifts. Do we have the gifts?
Okay.